Hey, bear! Hey, bear! Go on, bear! Go on! Hey! Go on! Get back! You saw they were hiking the trail right towards me, and then all I started doing was making a bunch of noise. I was upwind of them, so I was sure that my bear spray would work a lot better than if the wind was going the other way, but I really didn't want to use it. There's 2 of them, and the bear spray canister is only good for a spray that lasts 4 seconds. After 4 seconds, you have to use what's around you, which is rocks, and I've already been in one rock fight with a bear in Tennessee, but that was a black bear. These guys are grizzlies. They know how to kill. Although these bears weren't acting very hungry, I didn't want to take any chances with them. I didn't want them getting any closer than they are right now. Here, they start to get off of the trail and move to lower ground, and I start to hope that I can pass by them without any incident. The bear on the left, the one with the darker hair, is a little more reluctant to leave the trail. He's sniffing the air pretty hard and then squints to look at me whenever he looks my way. The blonde one wasn't bothered by me at all, but that doesn't mean I wasn't bothered by them. Like I said, I didn't want them coming any closer. And the last thing you want to do is turn around and start running and make yourself look like prey. I anticipated bears being a problem I would have in the national park. And this is the critical moment that I didn't want to turn into an incident. But they must have been thinking the same thing. At some point, they decided it was better to take the low ground and were going to let me pass on the trail while they took it. They were slow to make their decision and lingered here right on the trail, right next to the trail for about 2 or 3 minutes before finally going down the hill. You'll have to forgive the shaky camera work. They're not totally in frame. My mind was on other things at this moment. I kept my eyes on them until they passed where I was and then started walking backwards. But my main concern is that they had gone upwind of me. If they changed their mind and came back, my bear spray would be ineffective, going right back into my mouth as soon as I squirted it at them. Then if they came back to eat me, I would be blinded and taste like hot sauce. They walked forward into the direction from which I had just come. I walked backward, keeping my eye on them the entire time until I was down the ridge, clear of the area. The camera work was even shakier as I was walking backwards. And if you'd like a better video of these bears, go to this location, shoot your own video, and pack out 2 cans of bear spray because there's 2 of them out there. Two days later, I gave the location and the video to a park ranger who closely monitored the activity of grizzlies within the park. I would also find out that the worst encounter someone had with a bear was not a hiker, but a cyclist who hit a grizzly with his bicycle and was killed. Most of the time, like these bears, they're uninterested in hikers. I didn't even have to chuck a rock. That was like the most normal bear encounter I think I've ever had. And, thanks, Mark, for the bear spray. He's the guy that gave it to me a long time ago, but didn't have to use it, thank God. But I was glad to have it. I keep looking over my shoulder to see if they turn around. Thank you, Jesus, for covering me in your most precious blood. Holy Spirit, for giving me courage and a steady hand. All the fear that just clouds me right after. I'm like, gosh, man, those things can kill, you know? You feel so strong at the time, but then once they go, you feel so vulnerable, like standing upwind would mean any different. The only thing I'm good at is walking a long distance. I can't fight a bear with my bare hands. I'm very grateful that that's over. There had been signs of bears throughout the park, but thankfully I hadn't seen any before that, and I didn't see any for the rest of my time in the park. It was mostly the beautiful scenery that I was looking at, always staying vigilant of the wildlife, but never having an encounter like the one I just showed. The main challenge was the trail. It's tough to hike up and over these passes, to go through the overgrown trail, but there's so much beauty around to look at. This cascading waterfalls and non-lethal wildlife, of course, playing around in the blooming flowers all throughout the high summer of Glacier National Park. A few other hikers, but not too many. Mostly I had the trail to myself, and the beauty was mine to enjoy alone. It's hard to capture the beauty of this world above treeline with a one-dimensional video. It's something that was all around me while I was walking. Behind, above, the smells, the sounds, the wind, the ice melting. This was my first day going south on the Continental Divide Trail. I had used the Wi-Fi in the cafe back at Many Glacier Hotel to edit the last video and then do some writing for my blog, so I got a late start.
Look at this place, you know? It's got $1 million view for a $10 permit, and I just cannot get enough of it.
The late start was fueled by coffee and the energy from seeing those bears, of course, and when I did finally get to camp, it was well past dark.
Yup, here we go again. Dinner after dark. August 1st. Walking beside this beautiful lake on a trail that's covered in cobwebs, which means I have it totally to myself. There's no one else coming through to knock them down. Tons of huckleberries. Put huckleberries in my oatmeal this morning. How nice is this? I got a regular day today, like 25. Tomorrow, I'm going to walk into East Glacier Village and buy myself something huge to eat, because tomorrow I will be sober for 6 years. 6 years, not a drink. So I'm pretty happy, and that's how I'm going to celebrate, by eating instead of drinking. But it's also giving me something to look forward to. This is it. Pigeon Pass, but I don't see any pigeons. Just one big fatty in a red shirt breathing hard. That was a climb. A very, very pretty country out here. Tough to climb and get rain almost every day, but stunning. And absolutely heavenly out here. I'll take the rain.
That night I got all the rain I said I would take, and then some more. I prepared my food outside because I didn't want food smells in my tent, and I ate it in the downpour. I dug a trench around my tent because the water had started to seep through the floor, but water finds a way. I ended up getting wet that night for all my trench digging effort. It came up through the floor, soaked my sleeping bag, clothes, everything. I was going to have a bad day because of all that, but I had already committed to having a good day because it was my 6-year anniversary of being sober. And you can't go back on a commitment, so I had a good day anyways. Forced myself to, in spite of the rain and waking up wet.
I am 6 years sober today, and I celebrated the occasion by getting out of a wet sleeping bag and putting on wet clothes and walking on a wet trail. So I guess my celebration is just getting wet. So on the last pass, I did unfortunately put my phone in my pocket while I was still recording, and it killed the battery, and I had a 55-minute pocket video.
It was about 11 miles down to a campground that had a little camp store where I loitered for a half hour charging my phone, and in the meantime, I used a paper map to get through the park. Tough as it was, rain, dead phone, all that, I still enjoyed my day. I had to. Remember, I had committed to it the night before, and I saw some wildlife on the way down I had never seen before. Big horned sheep, a whole family of them. Mom, dad, 2 kids. My friend Mowgli can talk to animals like this, but he wasn't here to translate, so I had to do my very best without him. We don't speak the same dialect, but we kind of understand each other. $20 later, I checked in at a hostel and cooked myself a huge meal that I had been anticipating all for 2 days. A dozen eggs, a few slices of ham, a pound of beef, handful of bacon, some toast, the usual. Breakfast for dinner, which happens to be my favorite, at least on this trail it has been. Next morning at the hostel, it was the same thing. Another dozen eggs, another thing of bacon, another pound of beef, more toast, more coffee. And I finally got to meet some hiker trash that's going on the Continental Divide Trail. I met a few hikers on the Pacific Northwest Trail, but they were all going in the other direction. It's cool to see people doing the same thing as me now. I'm not doing it alone anymore. I picked up the big box of food that was waiting for me, and also a new pair of used shoes from eBay that I sorely needed because Mine have almost 600 miles on them, and I need a new pair to finish out this trail.
Ride down the trail and run back with this little tiny backpack that I'm borrowing instead of taking all my gear. And it'll cut 15 miles off of my next food carry.
I convinced the Australians to come with me. The three of us hitchhiked down Highway 2 to the next trailhead, got on the trail with a bare minimum of gear, and then jogged the trail north back to East Glacier where the hostel was, covering it in record time because I hardly had anything in the tiny little book bag I was using to carry snacks and water and bear spray for the relatively short 15-mile day. The hostel's great. I wanted other people to know about it. I jumped on Google Maps, found the place, and left it a 5-star review saying it was a good value for the money. The owner found me and asked me to take down my review because it had too many stars. He doesn't want to attract the wrong kind of clientele. He only wants hiker trash that stays here for $20 a night and doesn't ask for anything. With too many stars on Google, he worries it'll attract people who want the place vacuumed and the hosts to be there and the electricity to work and basic problems like that a business owner wants to avoid. So I changed my review to a 1-star. And then I found a crow with his foot stuck in a lawn chair, carefully removed him from the lawn chair, and played with him for a while until he came out of his shock, started biting me, and then I took him back outside to release him. That crow took off before I could even give him a name, and he didn't want to come backpacking with me. I've got to hitchhike the road back to where I left off yesterday, and I'm going to walk into the Bob Marshall Wilderness, which is a pretty long stretch of nothing, no towns or anything. I'm picking up my next resupply from a campground, and I won't be back in town until Helena, Montana. So I'm putting out this update now because you won't be hearing from me for a while. I appreciate you following along on these videos. I'm so lucky to be out here, and I look forward to updating you guys after I get out of the Bob.